Hi guys! Do you mind? Can you sit down and shut up? God. Oh my god, stop it! Okay. Hi. We're back. Finally back. Yay! I think I've been quiet on YouTube for the last 6 or 8 weeks because I've had my kid home, and ironically he's home today, but I've also been sharing an office with my husband, which has only resulted in his almost death a few times. Finally been to the hairdresser and got my hair done. Not that happy with it, but whatever. Can you please stop it? Please. See, we're all very excited to be back. So, lots to show you and do and stuff today. First things first. This week, my massive yarn order that had been sitting in Europe, it started, like, I ordered from the UK, from a really well-known company, in the yarn business, in the wholesale undyed yarn business, which is Chester Woolen Mill. And my yarn sat at customs in the UK for weeks. I ordered it in May. that's how long it's had. And then it went on holiday. It went to Tennessee. Why? And then it went to Hawaii, and it didn't even bring me a gift. Anyway, so I've managed to fill everybody's orders. I had so many orders because it's taken so long for the frickin' yarn to arrive that they've just piled up and piled up and piled up. And thank you very much for all your patience and support in that time, because, you know, it was waking me up at 4 o'clock in the morning. But in that box was three new yarn lines that people have asked for, or that I just really want to try. There's one that I really like that I used to do, that I've got again. Anyway, first one, I'm not going to open it because it's kind of self-explanatory what it is. These are 20-gram minis of sock yarn. I've had so many requests for mini sets. You asked, I listened. Yay! I will probably do them in the existing colourways to start with, because my creative level is at 0 at the moment, because, yeah. And also I can just toss them in, you know. Let's just take the easy route for once. The other one, which is something that was requested and also I really love anyway, but now that the exchange rate's come down, I can finally afford to do a little bit. It's not come down that much, but it's come down to more than $2 a pound, which is what it was at. And this is, I'm not sure if you can be able to see it because I don't know where my ring light's gone to be able to show you the shine. Is, please, can we just stop? I don't know what their problem is, but they're annoying. This is 50/50 merino silk. Does it feel amazing? Yes, it does. Does it have amazing drape? Yes, it does. But it will also pill like you won't believe. So don't try and make a sweater out of it. Trust me, trust somebody that has done it. It's a really bad idea to attempt to make a merino silk sweater. It seems like a good idea, and the first couple of times you do it, like you wear it, it's awesome, but then the silk kind of relaxes and it drapes more, so then your sweater's at your knees and then it pills and you're like, So accessories, very nice accessories. This is next to skin soft. It's so shiny and pretty. You won't regret making a scarf out of this. I actually have 2 that have this incorporated. Not this one. This one has some sparkle in it, which kind of shows up. This is one of Amber O'Brien's patterns. I can't remember which one, but it's got one. The blue is a sparkle yarn, which I was not sure about sparkle yarn for a really long time. I was like, it's gonna come out in the wash, or it's gonna fade, or whatever. But it actually, it's not. It stays. It's good. Okay, the last one, which I got just because, is the silky singles, which is, I don't think it's got as much silk in it as the other one. The other one's 50/50. I think this is 70/30. And it's the single ply. So like our other single ply that we normally do, but with silk. So it's pretty. I don't think you can see the shine, to be honest. But believe me, it's there. I don't, like, this is how organised I was for today. I don't know where my ring light is. I don't know where, I didn't know where the stand was. I didn't know where the yarn was. Oh, yeah. Okay, so the other things that I've had this week arrive are something that I quickly told you guys about on Facebook, which is these huge mama 200-gram hanks of local sock. This is as local as it gets to me, from Nundal woolen mills. So these are 200-gram hanks of sock yarn made with local, this local for local people, local merino from here in New South Wales, spun locally, made locally, the whole works. So I'm going to be testing one of these out tomorrow to see how they take the dye, and hopefully come up with some new colours. The great thing about having a 200-gram hank is, frankly, less weaving in of ends, and that's it. Also, I suppose you get 800 metres of uninterrupted colourway, so you're not going to worry about having to mix them, and yeah. Not that that's ever bothered me. I don't mind a stripe on my jumper. And the other thing that I got from Nundal was this big ass bag of, it says it's 23 micron, but I'm inclined to disagree that it is actually less than 23 because it is so soft. This is local Nundal Australian merino. So this is for my spinners. There is 2 kilos of that, which I now have to split up, but I don't mind doing that. Australian grown, Australian process, Australian merino. There we go. So that's my fun jobs for this week, other than you guys' orders, which mostly are done. They just need to leave the building. Let's do a bit of a catch up on crap that I've received in the mail. And by crap I mean beautiful stuff from Knit Crate. I think this is March's Knit Crate. It's very, very lovely colour. I love the colour. The only drawback is that it is light alpaca. It's 100% baby alpaca in a fingering weight. It says light and then it says 365 meters. That's just normal fingering weight, everybody, just so you know. It's a beautiful colour, but alpaca makes me want to set fire to my own skin and rip it off and run away. I made a really nice alpaca scarf, one of the very first things I crocheted with fancy yarn, and it was 100% alpaca lace. Don't even, like, why did I choose lace? Who knows? But every time I wore it, I just needed to rip my skin off. I hated it. It's still in the cupboard. It's pretty, but alpaca is just not for me. Unfortunately, I'm very sad about that because this colorway is beautiful. Look how deep that green is. It's just, has it got a name? Ancient Pines. Exactly. What can you do? I think this is April's. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong, because they've all arrived. Like, this one arrived last week. I think it's from April and it arrived last week. This is the Sparkle Sport. Now, I love the colour. I love the sparkle. Yes, very neutral. Will go with anything. You can put this with your clown bath and it'll, you know, bring the tone of the whole thing down. But it says it is 70% superwash merino, 20% nylon, 10% stellina, which is quite a lot. Usually they're only 5. And it says it's a sport weight with 274 meters. Now, does that... Don't focus on me, focus on me. Does that look like a sport weight to you? Because it doesn't look like a sport weight to me. It looks like a fingering weight. It feels like they've cheaped it. I feel like a real bitch saying this, but it feels like they've cheaped out on the yarn length. I suppose we could test the wraps per inch to actually see. Do I have something to... This is going to get super technical. Here's my Star Wars pencil, and by my I mean my son's. So to test your WPI, let me bring up something that tells me how much WPI is in a sport weight. Sport weight wraps per inch. Okay. $12 wraps per inch. For those of us from Europe, that is 2.5 centimeters. So it's wraps per 2.5 centimeters. Now, if I put the pencil into, let me undo it. Here we go. I'm just going to pull one strand apart so that we can test it properly, and then you wrap it round and bunch it together once you've wrapped it around a bunch until you get an inch, basically. So this is super technical, huh? But very handy if you want to test something like this. Bear with me, please hold. As you can all see, we have all been eating our way through lockdown, and Jesus Christ, do I need a gym. Anyway. So, I think that's about an inch. I'm going to measure it. Okay, it's a bit more than an inch. Jeez. So you're going to measure how many wraps that make up your inch. And then we'll see if it's anywhere close to 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. At which point I will apologise. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. There are 23 wraps per inch on this sport weight. So, guess what that makes it? Yeah, it's very much a fingering weight. I'm sorry, I don't know whoever marked that as a sport weight is wrong. It is not a sport weight. That is a very short amount of fingering weight. So I would actually be surprised if that even weighs 100 grams. I might even get pedantic and get the scales out and see if it weighs 100 grams. It feels like it does, but there's no way on God's green earth that this is a sport weight yarn. So if you've received this in your box, do not use it for a sport weight project. Use it for a fingering weight project. It's very nice, but it's very mislabeled, in my opinion. And that is my opinion. And obviously, I've just used a tiny bit of low-tech maths to figure out that. Now, this one I received yesterday along with a pouch that I have no idea what it's for. It's just a pouch that is made out of felt. This is the sock crate, I think, from whenever, April. I don't know. That, you know what I mean? It's June and I'm receiving April stuff. That's how long the post is taking people. So this is the sock box, which I think went with the cheap sport weight. I hate a barber pole. I hate them. It's just the worst thing ever. It's called a barber pole twist, where they twist in the black with whatever. Sometimes they twist it with white instead. This is 40% merino, 40% Peruvian Highland wool, and 20% nylon. it does say there's 400 meters here and yada yada yada. I hate Highland wool. It's very scratchy. I'm generally pretty allergic to it. Probably be okay on feet. Seeing as this is a sock box, you probably do want something pretty hardy. Like, you could probably do boot socks out of this. There's no way I will ever use this. So if anybody wants this, beautiful. It's called wisteria. And I'm here to also tell you that wisterias are an awful. I have one. They're light lilac. They're not this colour. So there's a few misses here from Knit Crate for the last couple of weeks. But that's just, you know, somebody else may love this and think it's awesome. It's just not my taste. Okay. I'm not trying to be a downer on Knit Crate because I love some of their stuff. But also, I've heard that next month, which is I say next month, I think it's May's, the next one I'll be receiving is, because they obviously had problems with their suppliers and this, that and the other, because of COVID, they didn't actually have anything to send in May, so they sent us, as far as I'm aware, dye your own with Kool-Aid yarn packages, which is awesome for everybody else, but as somebody that dyes yarn for a part-time job, it's a bit of a busman's holiday. But I would be interested in seeing their yarn blend, or like without any, like which yarn blend they send. Are they going to send sock? I don't know. So that's the interesting part of the next package. But I'll dye it for myself and go, yeah, I did it, and I'll probably do it with these. Please focus, please. With my landscapes dyes, which are my personal preference. I know lots of other people use Dharma dyes and Jacquard dyes. I do have a couple of Jacquard ones, but they're so fine and so dusty that, you know, for heavy-handed lumps like me, this chunky stuff, this is where it's at. And also, these already have citric acid mixed into them, so if you forget to, or run out of your citric acid or your vinegar or whatever you soak your yarn in, these are still going to take and set on your yarn because they already have citric acid all mixed into there. Perfect. Also, that's more of a chunky one. This one is wheat, and that's more of a chunky one, but some of them are a bit finer. See, that's a wild raspberry. There, I got a dye order. I don't normally keep my dyes on my desk, but here we are. I splashed out on the big chunky ones. Usually I use the smaller ones like this, but seeing as we're going through this sort of colour and this sort of colour and this sort of colour, a rate of knots at the moment, I thought we may as well have big ones. And two of these, I don't know. I'm terrible at ordering. I'm like, oh, I've added this one. I better add another one because we need 500 grams of yellow. This is incidentally enough to dye 2.5 kilos of yarn on its own. That's how much is in there. And I also bought 2 sulfur yellows, which is the neon sort of yellowy colour. I bought 2 of these. Don't need it. I think I've even still got 2 out there. I don't know. I think I might have to start doing an inventory. Sorry, my husband's phone is ringing. He has now a desk phone for working from home, and he has one of those, you know, well, the headsets that makes him look like he's about to take my reservation at a hotel. Okay, while I've been in lockdown, I tried to finish everything I had as projects. Did I do it? No, I finished 2 things. I finished my husband's sweater, which is waiting to be, I say I finished it, I have not, he can't wear it. I haven't soaked it and stretched it and blocked it or whatever. But I did finish this. I finished it. It's finished. Woohoo, yay. This is the project that I've been doing for 5 years. Incidentally, if you want mini sets in this colorway, I'm down for it, so just let me know. I say I finished it. I finished it, but I did not. Yeah. I finished this 5 weeks ago and then put it away because there is this. I did this much of the ends. Look, I did that much, and then I was like, "Fuck this," and put it away. Mostly because I don't actually think I'm gonna wear it. Like, I do owe it to it after 5 years and finally finishing it to block it and completely finish it. So I will. I don't think I'm gonna wear it. It's a bit nutty for me. My son's talking to him. Does anybody else's kid do that, or is it just? Oh my god. Anyway, last thing, because we've already gone on and on for 20 minutes and had dogs barking. And I got a package this morning from my lovely dealer up in Brisbane, which is Young Glorious Yarn. And now, the other day I ordered my sister-in-law the new colourways of hedgehog fibres. They had a new lot in, and it was her birthday on Monday, and I couldn't decide which colourways to get her, so I got one of each of 4. So she had 4 different ones to choose from. And of course, as soon as she showed me a picture of what she got sent, I was like, I need that. So it was her birthday, but it was also my birthday. So the 2 colourways that I absolutely had to have. This is Heron, and I'm so taken with it. Look at the... Yeah. Let me take one out, because you won't appreciate. You just won't appreciate it unless I show you the full. Look how beautiful is that. Yeah, this is Heron. Write it down. Grab some. And these are the newest stuff to come out of hedgehogs lately. So they finally got their order. I think they put their order in March, and they finally got it now. And so I've got 4 of those. Shh, 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 don't. Yeah, husband's out. It's fine. So I've got 4 in that colourway, and there is another one in here. Am I going to be able to thread this back through? Oh my god. Seriously, just push me out of my chair, why don't you? I don't know what the problem is. Anyway, that's Heron. There's also Heron. These 2 are also, yeah. So these are, I want to say 400, they're going to be about 400 meters, so there's enough there for a sizable sweater for me. Anyway, the other colourway, which is not necessarily a sweater colour, but it is one that I really like. This is Orion, and it's one of those ones where you get, I don't know whether I'll be giving away secrets, but they put a load of block colour on it. So they block it out with the blue, and then they use, I don't think it's not quite speckles. It's a heavy, I think it might be a heavy-handed speckle to do the others. So I've got 2 of those because I don't think, like it's very nice. Holy shit, can you shut up? Yeah, it's a really lovely colour and I love it, but I don't I would never wear a sweater out of this. Can you stop it? Come here. Come here. Put your hair down. No. Protecting me from the postman. Anyway, that's enough out of me, I think, for this week. As you all know, there's been protests and well, I wouldn't say riots because I don't feel that they are. They're premeditated riots, in my opinion. And like the cause is a just one. If you don't believe it's a just one, you're just wrong. I'm sorry. You can unfollow me. You can say your opinion or whatever. But if you don't believe that the cause of people being treated as equals is a just cause to fight for, you're frankly just wrong. There is like last year I did a paper about mandatory minimums. Can you get your face out the silk? Thank you. Mandatory minimums being disproportionately discriminatory towards people of colour in this country. And like every last bit of peer-reviewed research, peer-reviewed, like it's not from Fox fucking News, peer-reviewed research showed that people of colour are incarcerated in this country at a rate of about 2 to 1 compared to white people for the same crime. I'm not talking about a different crime or something that you might think that they've done more wrong. An identical crime, they are being disproportionately jailed for, especially younger kids. So kids that, you know, teenagers that, oh, we've broken into somebody's house, or whatever. They are seen in this country as, because of the colour of their skin and where they grow up and where they come from, as at-risk groups. So instead of being let off and sent home to their parents with a slap on the wrist and, you know, I don't do it again from the police, they're put into the system. And kids on their first offence of Aboriginal or Indigenous origin in this country will see a courtroom. And white kids just won't. They'll be sent home to their parents with, you know, don't do it again, or you bad kid. And that is not right. It's just not. I'm sorry, but like, it's systemic in our law system to do that. And it's not right. And I feel like it needs reform. I don't hate the police. I think many of them do an excellent job, especially where I come from in England. I've seen police say to drunkards who are breaching the peace or whatever, I'm here for your safety. I've seen police say that to somebody. They haven't tackled them, they haven't raised a weapon, they haven't done anything at all. They have just escorted the person home. They are not there to protect people's property. They are not there to protect themselves. They are not there to protect the authority. They are there to protect the public. And I think that's probably where America has lost its way a little bit. Police seem to be there to protect each other, protect people of authority, and protect people's possessions. And it just needs huge reform. It just needs reform. And that's where I am. I got shit on a little bit on Facebook for saying that, and I'll probably get shit on a little bit for saying it again today. But honestly, if you don't believe that people of colour should be treated the same as somebody reflective like me, and you think that all lives matter, because nobody said they didn't. Nobody said that a black person's life is worth more than mine, for example. What we're saying is it is worth the same. So why are they not treated the same? Because they are not treated the same. If you think they are, you're wrong. You're just wrong. And I can't believe we're still fighting over this in this day and age. We are all people. We all just want the same basic things. And I don't understand why we're still fighting for equality. What is it? 50 years after. Let me look it up. 52 years after Martin Luther King was assassinated, and we're still here and we're still saying the same things as they were then. Has it improved? Yeah, a bit. Is it where it should be? Not by a long shot. And that's in a country that has had a black president. I can't even begin to see the breakdown in your mind where you can't just see another person, where you can't just see that that's like I don't get it. I just don't get it. I don't know whether I'm an idiot. I don't know whether racists know something that I don't. But I don't get it, and I never will. So that's the end of my TED talk. If anyone's interested, after Martin Luther King was killed in the late 70s, oh, maybe a decade after he was killed, I guess, in the late 70s, America introduced their mandatory sentencing. I'm reading from my paper that I wrote on this last year. They introduced mandatory sentences to be tough on crime, which, let's be honest, has never worked anyway, and to help with disparities of judicial discretion. That is disparities between judges choosing this for you or this for you. Ostensibly it was to stop racism and prejudice from judges and police and stuff, but it didn't work that way. Because the crimes that they added mandatory sentences to are crimes that people of colour are more likely to commit. It's just the way that it is. It's mostly because of where they are situated. So there are sentences that the mandatory minimum, they put the mandatory minimum on for like a crime that's committed in a public space that's, I don't know, a protected urban area. But black people in America are more likely, or were more likely, to live in those urban areas, so they were more likely to get the mandatory minimum, because of the geography of where they've committed the crime. So because of that kind of ruling with the mandatory sentences, where's the little factoid? In some American states, there are 6 times more offenders incarcerated than white, of people of colour, than white offenders. They are far more likely to be given a mandatory minimum sentence and have that mandatory minimum sentence applied. So they can still say, oh, we're not going to give you a sentence, we'll just let you off if you're white. If you are white. Not if you're... yeah, so... yeah, that's where it started. And where it started, this petered down into our law enforcements. And things like racial profiling in both Australia and America still happens. Still happens every single day. There is less consistency in the police about who they enforce their peacekeeping or law keeping, I don't know what you'd call it, on. And it just needs changing. I can't stress that enough. Yeah, why can't we all be treated as an equal people? We're just not, and until we are, it's not right. It's just not right. And that's why people are on the streets, people are talking for 15 minutes about this to you. Anyway, so that's the PS for my TED talk. I just wanted to read a little bit of, because it's eye-opening. I found it eye-opening when, like, I found myself the most surprised about all of this, because I come from England, where yes, a little bit of racial profiling and things like that do go on in built-up areas. So in London and in certain areas, this stuff goes on, but not, you know, it just doesn't happen as much. So I felt like I was so sheltered from this stuff when I read it, and I'm like, holy shit, this is happening now. This is what is happening now. It's not happening 40 years ago still. It's still happening today. Today, if a black dude gets pulled over for having a tail light out in America, he might get shot. He might. If a white guy gets pulled over, probably won't. But his chances of being killed because his tail light is out is exponentially higher than it is for you or I, if you're white. Sorry, I don't know who else is watching this. And that just needs to, it just needs to end. And that's where I'm going to leave off today. If you don't want to hear about it and you think crafting, oh, sorry, I'm going to stop and then I'm going to carry on going. If you don't want to hear about it and you think that politics, this isn't politics, this is human rights, by the way. I can't even begin to tell you how annoyed I was on Facebook when somebody told me to keep my politics out of knitting. This is not politics. This is human rights and equality. It's so much larger than who you fucking vote for, okay? If you think that politics or human rights should stay out of crafting and knitting and, oh, I'm just here to craft. Well, yeah, do you know what? Crafters and knitters and artists in general have been some of the biggest and largest voices in activism in general since, let me see, we were talking about, me and my friend Megan were talking about this yesterday. I'm just wanting to find the article, which is another peer-reviewed article. I might actually link this one for you guys to read in the comments if you're interested. Like, I read about this a long while ago, in the 1700s, not 20 years ago, 400 years ago. These guys were women like me who were concerned about people's rights and politics and all that. They boycotted certain fabric suppliers and makers because of their politics. They boycotted fabric designers and makers because of the politics that person has come out with. And that was in the 1700s. During World Wars, we had, yeah, we were just talking about this, so I'm just referencing back to, we had spies in World War II putting encoded messages into knitting. Okay? We had a massive movement during World War I and World War II in England, knitting socks for soldiers. So the article that I will link is about needlework in the 1970s, and it is about needlework and the reminder that needlework is a, let me quickly read it here, the movement of feminism in needlework. That's it. That, you know, let's get even more on point. You know, feminism, activism, human rights. It's all intertwined in the arts. It just is. Like, what I'm doing right now is, it's just me talking, but it is an art form. Me talking to you is considered media art. Okay. If I knit one of those stupid pink pussy hats, it's me telling you that I'm for feminism against that fascist that's running America at the moment. And I'm sorry, he is a fascist. If you don't think he is, you need to do a little bit of research, okay? He just is. Anyway, that's my mild rant for the day. Yeah. Okay, that's it. I'm off. Gonna do some more creative stuff. Take my mind off this stupidity that's going on in the world. Because honestly, also I just want to say, in this country, people have been really down on protesters for going out during the COVID pandemic. Now, I agree to a certain extent, but I also feel like there is literally no good time ever. There's no convenient time ever to stand up for human rights and equality and any kind of protest. There's no good time to do that. It's going to happen when it happens, and when people are furloughed and off work and all that jazz because of a pandemic, it's probably a better time than most, to be honest. Is it a risk? Yes, it is. But if things change from it, it might be worth it. And that's where I'm going to leave it today. If you've lasted this long, what the fuck are you doing with your life? Take care, guys. See you next week.